Good evening. Welcome to Exports Nation Live. Today's session on my channel, Dr. Vijesh Jain, VJ Exports Mastery Channel. Prachi good evening. Welcome. Let's wait for a few minutes for more people to join, and then we will start today's session. So, uh, I hope that you had a great weekend. And Sunendra, good evening. Welcome to the channel. So I'm thankful to the audience who have joined this channel and today's live class on an interesting topic that I have chosen. And this topic has been discussed on various platforms and channels, but this topic remains very uh, uh, uncontested and a topic which is still talked about a lot about international business environment. This topic we'll be taking up today for the simple reason that the domestic business environment and international business environment, these two platforms are quite different from each other. The type of challenges that are faced in international business environment vis-a-vis the domestic environment refers to the different types of differences, acute differences that are there. So I will give you some examples. If we talk of the cultural differences, the political differences, and very, very importantly, the regulatory differences, because in domestic market, when you do business, you are under a law single law of the land, law of the country. So you already have the legal systems in place, you already have a lot of homogeneity in terms of cultures, in terms of the arbitrations. But on international level, not only there is a lack of a single legal system, but whatever the legal systems exist, they are very, very costly. So the very reason of taking up this particular topic was to drive the point that the international business environment poses very strong challenges. If I am able to explain few interesting things about international business environment on this platform to you, it is really going to help in shaping up your thought process in a direction that can give very good strategic results for your success in international business. So that is the reason I have chosen this topic. So I have prepared a very short presentation to take up this topic, international business environment, based on my own research. So I will take up this presentation and I will explain to you the actual contours of international business environment. What does it mean? What is the scope? And if we talk of the today's business environment, international business environment, what are the opportunities? What are the challenges that are there? So these topics which I'm going to discuss, the main objective is to open up your mind on the global scale and give you the fodder for your mind to ponder over and create your ideas. So these ideas will be very helpful to you if you think in those lines. If I am able to help you in understanding these aspects of international business environment, they are really going to help you. This is my thought process. This is what I that this is my conviction about it. So I will just take up this presentation that I have prepared on this topic, that is the international business environment, where I will, in today's presentation, what I'm going to give you will provide you a structure and the shape of the world today, as far as the business is concerned and the ecosystem is concerned, wherein the business works. So let me share this presentation with you. So I'll just share the presentation. So see this presentation, international business environment. Okay, right. So the first thing I want to discuss with you is what is international business environment. So international business environment is a ecosystem under which the the multinational companies or the companies that are involved in international trade carry out the international business activities. So we are talking of the ecosystem that drives the companies to make profits, to expand into the market that is very, very vast. So whatever we have discussed, the so-called pull and push factors that drives companies to international markets, that the factors that pull the companies to international market. So all those advantages and challenges and opportunities under which these these companies that are involved in international trade work. So that ecosystem is what I refer to as the international business environment. Now, to start with, we have to understand that this ecosystem that has developed to engulf so many companies that are involved in international trade and they are making money. We know companies like Amazon, or we know companies like Tesla. They are the very big names, but there are many, many smaller companies that have really made big fortunes in international trade in this ecosystem. The overall result, if we talk about of the emergence of the type of international business environment we are living in, that the results are the emergence of very large multinational corporations. There is no denying the fact. We are talking of the Fortune 500 companies, but there are companies beyond Fortune 500 also. Many, many big number of large multinationals that are there are the result of this international business environment under which international trade happens. The second result refers to the mass production. So, if we talk as a consumer, if we talk as a very large middle class that exists internationally, they have welcomed the mass production of goods, maybe in China, maybe in other countries. Earlier, it was in UK. There was a time when UK was the factory of the world. Today, the factory of the world is China, mass production. Maybe in future, the factory of the world will be countries in South Asia, including India and the neighboring countries. They would be doing the mass production. At present, apart from China, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia, all these countries are part of this mass production phenomena that is happening, but they have their own limitations. Those countries are smaller countries. Together, they are able to do it. The so called ASEAN, which has got 10 countries, and that very large regional cooperation has created a very large part of this world that is involved in this mass production, and they are providing the alternative to China. So that is what is happening, because the world is too much dependent on Chinese products. So world is looking for not doing away with the mass production, but what they are looking for, the alternatives to China. And other result of the present international business environment is the global brands, the emergence of global brands like iPhone or Samsung or LG and Huawei or Lenovo. I mean, I'm talking of the global brands, maybe in all sectors. So not only in electronics, but also in beverages and the dairy products and whatnot. So big global brands, including global brands of the luxury items, automobiles. So these global brands have become reality, and whether someone like it or not, these global brands have got value. They have valuations also. They are very the market value of these global brands is very high. That means they are serving some purpose to the masses on this planet. And other result of the international business environment of this ecosystem is the emergence of, if not all, but many world class products. So the kind of products we like to show to our friends, relatives, and colleagues, the kind of products we show them that they really provide some solutions to the human problems, day to day problems. So those world class products with great features are available that were unheard of maybe 20 25 years back. So those kind of world class products we are having, including the very smart mobile handsets or laptops, or not only in electronics, in all sectors, including the home appliances or electronics or electrical area. Or if we talk of the lighting, if we talk just 10 years back, we had not even dreamt of the kind of lighting products we have in today's time. The kind of lighting products, they consume very less electricity. So the lighting products are of world class quality or world class features, I would say. I'll not talk of the quality, but world class features are there because they operate in a international business environment of a very different type. So this, you cannot expect these kind of products in a domestic environment. The type of environment which exists in a particular country, that cannot create these kind of products. The type of hyper competition which exists on the international level, and the type of challenges these companies face, and they exploit the opportunities, they are only able to mass produce these world class items, and very large options for the consumers in the market. So the customers, they have many options. So they are not in a situation that take it or leave it. They are not in that situation. They have the options. Very large options are there. They can choose. So it's a consumers market. It is not the suppliers market. It is the consumer market we are living in. Because of this very large, very different, very diverse international business environment under which these companies that produce these goods are operating. And very important thing, that because of this globalized world, because of this global village that exists in the current international business environment or the ecosystem, we are able to get very outstanding international talent that is very difficult to get in a domestic environment. In the international environment, these talents are available. They are examples of the past CEO of Twitter, who had to leave after the takeover of Twitter by Elon Musk. So Parag Agarwal, so there are these kind of talents, international talents. They have emerged, and they are really making people think that How come such talent exists in the world? Because of this international business environment, this ecosystem, they are there. So this is only few examples, but there are so many people out there who are doing outstanding work that is only possible in this kind of environment. And very importantly, very large scale transnational investments. So the situation we have today, that if you have good ideas, investment is not a problem in today's world. So investment is looking for ideas, investment is available internationally in all democratic countries, democratic markets. A lot of investments are coming. Not only democratic markets, some of the markets that were not even democratic, they were getting the investment. But more and more, the changes, the type of changes we are seeing today is, again, the investment will be coming to the democratic countries more. So investment is not a problem. They are available. International capital is available. The convergence of the financial systems in the world has resulted into the availability of the capital to even countries like India or countries like Pakistan, or, or even countries like Bangladesh. Bangladesh was capital starved till 10 years back, but today they have no problem of investment. Investment is coming now, and Bangladesh is doing very well today because this international investment is available, and all because of this ecosystem under which these companies are operating. So, my idea of this slide had been to drive on the point that we are talking of an ecosystem that is resulting into all these things. So, we are talking of a playground that is quite different from the domestic market. So, that is the idea. My idea was to explain to you exactly that what we are talking about, the type of ground we are talking about. So, that was the idea. Now, if we explain this again, it may look little theoretical in nature, but we cannot escape understanding of the factors that produce these kind of challenges, these kind of differences, and these kind of things that makes international business or international playground for the business so different. So we cannot denounce the importance of the political differences that exist in the world. And because of this diversity of the political thought process, we are in a situation that competition exists. If these differences are not there, these political differences are not there, competition will be very difficult. But there are other dark side of the political differences that remains. But as far as the business is concerned, these differences provide opportunity also, a lot of opportunity. And the economic factors as well as the economic differences that exist in the world market. But if these economic differences exist, that indicate another opportunity of the future work that has to be done. Like, for example, if we talk of the economic condition of China, which was not very good 30, 40 years back, today it is very good. Now, the South Asian countries, including India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, they are doing better now, getting into a better economic situation. So, in the line, we have the countries in Africa. They'll be now looking at the brighter futures. So, their economy is also improving. So, those opportunities will remain. So, there are endless opportunities in the world. If we talk of the world stage, endless opportunities exist on economic fronts, and the differences are there. Those differences also provide a lot of opportunities as well as challenges. And talking about the cultural differences, they still remain. Cultural differences are there. The countries historically, they have different languages, they have different habits, they have different religion, and they have their different etiquettes, and many differences, cultural differences that exist in the world today, and they are major factor if we talk of this international business environment, the ecosystem where these companies try to operate, international trade happens, they have to deal with these cultural differences. And very important, and this is something that has been least talked about, are the legal differences or the non existence of a single legal system. So we do not have any global parliament or global legal system. We do not have. We do have some legal systems, they are not enforceable. So there do not exist, actually do not exist, a single common law for the planet. That doesn't exist. So this is a major difference if we talk of the business environment and the international business environment. These legal factors are very powerful, very important factors, and sociological factors. So the social structures internationally that exist are of very different type. If we talk of, for example, the social structures in South Asian countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, or Nepal, and we compare the social structures, the society, the type of society we have, if we talk of the Western societies, if we talk of the Far Eastern societies, if we talk of the societies in African continent or European continent, so those social structures are different. The way of life is different. The living standards or the living styles are quite different. And those differences are very stark differences. So that becomes very strong driving factor that drives the type of platform we are there on international trade, and the result we had discussed in the last slide. I had discussed those results. So these differences provide challenges but many opportunities, and so much have been talked about the technological factors that are much more visible in driving the world towards becoming a global village. If we talk of the technological advancements that humans have seen in last few decades, the technological advancement in communication technology or information technology or in transportation or even the engineering and hardware, so much of technological advancement that has happened, whether the technology was the driver of this globalization or the globalization was the driver of this technological revolution, that is debatable, but these two things has happened hand in hand in last 3 4 decades, especially after World War II. So these are the technological, social, legal, cultural, economic, and political factors. And today, environment is also playing a very major role. So a lot has been is being talked about the environmental factors. So if we want to understand the international business environment and the playground where you have to find your silver lining in international trade, you have to understand the importance and the meanings of these factors that explain the international business environment of today. So I hope this idea of explanation of international business environment due to these factors will be very much convincing to you, because without the understanding of these factors and their impact on the world environment, it is very difficult to understand this playground. This is my feeling or and conviction. So, if we look at the characteristics of the this playground, this international business environment of today, if we talk of the characteristics, so we have just talked about just now the high level of globalization, and this globalization is very much had been very much visible in recent time, especially in COVID-19, when the world was at the standstill. But due to the technological advancement, communication technology, globalization of technical communication technology and information technology, what we saw, very high level of globalized cooperation among the countries, that the innovation of the COVID-19 vaccine happened in countries like Germany or in UK or even US, and produced in India and many other countries. And the type of things that really happened, the solution was provided for this major pandemic of the century. So it is very much visible, and the type of business environment we have seen in recent time is very rare, in my opinion. And another characteristics of the today's international business environment is that in many areas, lot of lot of homogenization is happening. So so-called cosmopolitan environment. So if we talk of the capitals of the world, and from the business point of view, people are having many similar habits. If we talk of the capital of India, or capital of Pakistan, or capital of France, or capital of US, Canada, Mexico, those capitals are having the lifestyles that has become quite cosmopolitan. So certain segments of the world consumers are getting homogenized or so-called cosmopolitanized. So we are talking of the cosmopolitan culture that is emerging in the big cities of the world, whether they are in the Western countries, whether they are in the Eastern countries, or in South Asia, or in even on the American continent, wherever they are, big cities, they display the need for similar type of products, and the similar type of habits, purchasing habits, or the day-to-day solutions, they look into similar products. So that homogenization, as well as if we talk of the so-called homogenization in terms of uh, not all out, but in cultural terms, if we talk of the homogenization of the pop culture that has been exported by, uh, it has been said, it has been argued, by USA through Hollywood movies. So the so-called pop culture that has been exported by USA to many countries in the world, that have also contributed to this homogenization. But this homogenization is also coincided with the heterogenization, which means the will of the people of the different countries to preserve their cultures, the earlier cultures, the ancient culture. So that is also happening. So it is not just the homogenization that is happening. So homogenization may be happening in very big cities or the capitals of the world, but if we go in the countryside, or the uh, B or C cities of the world, they want to preserve their culture, and they don't want to let go or the differences which are there in, if you talk about the culture or the lifestyles or the etiquettes. So those uh, but yes, this homogenization is very important for the businesses, because it brings a lot of scale. to the businesses, especially to brands, global brands. So it is very, very important. And lot of convergence is happening. Now, this convergence especially starts with technological convergence, but there is a lot of convergence in other areas, whether it is legal convergence, the legal laws that are being matched. So, for example, the legislations which are there in some countries are being aped by other countries. They are trying to bring it in line with the world requirements, legal requirements, as well as the specifications of the products. So, a lot of convergence is happening in the world today, driven by technology and the economic integration. So, this kind of convergence we can see today, and high level of international dependence on each other. So, I took the example of the COVID-19 pandemic. So, without this dependence, interdependence, and cooperation of that high level on the global scale, we would not have uh, uh, we would not have come to the stage when we are trying to live with the virus. Only because of this international dependence, we have found the solution. I mean, at least temporarily. So this solution is there. Then the emergence of very large scale global value chains of the products. So the products we are using on day to day basis, not all is produced in one country. Something is produced in one country and exported to another country, then added value, then goes to another country. So lot of value addition on a global scale is possible. That is amazing, only because of the existence of so much of advancement we have made in transportation technology as well as in other areas, that the global value chains and global supply chains have emerged. So that is another characteristics. And finally, we are looking at the trade facilitation. So ease of doing business we are talking of, the reducing the trade barriers, free trade under the aegis of World Trade Organization, WTO. So WTO is driving the mission for the trade facilitation in this globalized world, this globalized platform. So that is another very important characteristic of the international business environment which we see today. So that is the characteristics I was talking about. And obviously, whatever I've just discussed with you, the most visible factors in that refers to the technological factors. Like I told you, the impact of the information and communication technology that exists today, that has really revolutionized our daily life, as well as the transportation technology we are having for the movement of the goods internationally through motherships that can carry almost 20 25,000 containers. So those kind of big ships are there. They can carry something like 300 300,000 or 400,000 metric ton of the goods in one ship. So we are talking of that kind of transportation that has really brought down the cost of moving goods from one continent to another continent, one country to another country, has been possible because of this very high level of technological advancement we have achieved, very much visible factor. Then economic factors, very much visible, high level of financial systems we are seeing today. As I told you, the international capital is available to anyone in a country that has the systems in place, even the minimum systems, if they are in place and you have good ideas and you can do something, you are good at something, you should not have any major problem in getting finances. International capital is available. So this factor has become very much visible. And again, in very recent time, you are seeing political visibility of the events that are happening in Iran, the events that are happening in Ukraine, Russia, or even China very recently. The kind of political awakening that is happening in terms of human rights or the free societies, so will of the people. So people want to live a free life. Politically, they want change. So that is most visible. It was unthinkable maybe 5-10 years back. So after pandemic, especially this political uh, visibility has increased. So the people are erupting. Actually, they are erupting. Societies are erupting. They are not interested in the emperors, so-called emperors. You might have read about the uh, Chinese people. They don't want emperors. They want the societies of the international standard. So who can give solutions to the problems of the people, not create problems for the people. So that is what is happening. Or in Iran, if we talk about. So those factors are very much visible, and the businesses have to find the opportunities in these challenges. And environmental factors. So I will not take much time, another few minutes. I'll try to finish today's session. So the environment factor has become very much visible. We are talking of the climate correction. So after seeing this pandemic, COVID-19, now it is not just talk. Earlier, people used to think that the scientists talk of the mayhem of the climate. Uh, so we cannot shrug off the looming challenges the humans are facing in this planet with respect to the climate change and the results of climate change, or the consequences of the hotting up of the planet. So those environmental factors are very much visible, and this climate correction is very much visible. So this is the slide where I wanted to talk to you about some of the factors that I discussed that are very much visible in today's scenario. So that explains that what is happening in the international business environment today. So if we talk of the type of the international business environment, so we can talk of the global international business environment on a global platform, if we talk of, and the macro environment for the companies on a again on a international level, as well as the sectoral. That means, for example, the international business environment for automobiles or international business environment for electronics on a global scale, and micro level also. If we talk of the macro level, we are talking of the club of Fortune 500 companies. So they are competing with each other, whichever country they belong to. They are competing with each other at the company level, and they have their own cooperation and rivalries with the fellow companies at the micro level. So this competition on the global scale or the macro scale or on the sectoral scale or micro scale has its own play in and contribution to the international business environment. So these are the different types of the international business environment, but the real focus of the businesses is on the global type of the international business environment. And we can only much talk about the global international business environment and it is very difficult to talk about the sectoral that is very much specialized. So you need experts who have spent many years in international trade in certain sectors like automobiles, or in the aviation sector, or in petroleum sector. So those people who have spent their whole life, they can only talk about the other type of international business environment. So we mostly talk of the global, very broad category of international business environment. So that is our limitation. So we really cannot talk in terms of sectors or micro level. So that is quite difficult actually. This is my opinion. And the impact on business. So I have already discussed this, where I said that both opportunities and challenges exist. For example, if we talk of the impact of the war that is happening between Russia and Ukraine, the impact of the war on the global trade, so we are concerned also, and on the global prices of the commodities, food prices, petroleum prices, energy prices. But at the same time, we also have to look into, and we cannot ignore the emergence of the type of unity that we are seeing today among the Western countries. That unity was not there before the war. So the war has brought many adverse impact on the world business and the scenario. So those challenges are there, but at the same time, it is also offering the opportunities. So the other major impact of what is happening today, it has a lot of potential for changing the contours of the global value chains. So, for example, I can tell you, as per my understanding, what, for example, the world has created so many strong supply chains, focusing on certain countries who are probably who are not politically correct. So that is creating ripples in the world, and because of that, there are possibility, and it is very much visible now, that these supply chains, the world supply chains, are being relooked into. They are being remodeled to include focus on other regions of the world, those regions that were ignored before. So those changes are happening, and as a person in global business, you should be aware of these changes. Then, so this was, my idea of today, sharing with you. What I shared with you today. The idea was to help you uh, develop the thought process in your mind towards. Ajayji, good evening. Welcome to the live channel, and Imranology. Thanks for joining. So today's topic that I had taken, that is the international business environment. I did my own research, and I tried to create this session today with the objective that you are aware of what is happening in the world today, and you are able to analyze the world business environment, international business environment, so that you can become a more strong person who can achieve greater success in international trade. That was the idea of today's session. I hope you must have found this session useful. And if you have any questions, you can ask the questions. Otherwise, we will meet on coming Friday. So, what I have done, uh, I wanted to tell you that instead of having the session on a daily basis, so what happens that we should be focusing on certain topics of very strong impact that would have. So that requires to not have more than 2 sessions per week. So the benefit of that would be that many of my engagements with training will also be comforted and become smooth, but it also makes the sessions much more useful to you as well as your time. So I think this is the reason I have shifted to uh, not more than 2 sessions per week, so that you are better prepared and you can plan yourself. So we meet on next Friday with a new topic of similar type, and it will be very helpful to you in your uh, uh, vision and your mission to become global person. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Good night.